So, how's your fall going?
It's going
Like,
pretty good. We
yeah,
are we're pretty much in the middle of high school season, and we're kind of practicing here and there for club, and we're getting ready for fall season.
right. So, you're in Southern Maryland. Um, I think it's called Southern Maryland, right? It's kind
Yeah,
of kind of
yeah,
off to the
Southern
east.
Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind
Um,
of not near much, but we're down here.
yeah, yeah. I bet you it's a nice place to be. But so how's high school season going?
It's going okay. It's going okay. We started a bit shaky. We went 0-2 to start. We played two really good teams to start. I
Mhm.
happened to not play in the first one. There was kind of COVID going around the school, so you know how that goes. So,
Yeah.
but no, jump back in. We played a tough team and happened to lose by a goal, but ever since we've won three straight. So we got
Oh,
a
cool.
game tomorrow and try to turn it all around.
Right. So, so this is our second go at this. And we talked last time about how, you've been with a club near where you lived and you had to make the transition in an effort to get recruited to go to Maryland United, right?
Yes, sir.
So talk about, just kind of recap what that was and how that transition's been for you.
Okay. Yeah. So I originally started with a club just around here and been playing on that pretty much ever since middle school. Pretty much the same group of guys, some in, some out over the years. And yeah, I just decided that the commitment level on that team just wasn't really what I was looking for. It wasn't my personal kind of preference. It
Hmm.
wasn't the amount that I was putting in. It wasn't kind of, across the board, and not everyone had the same kind of aspirations and everything for college. Some people were playing other sports. It was competitive. We played good teams. We had
Hmm.
a good team, but I just felt like at the end of the day, I just wanted kind of that recruiting kind of aspect, which the ECNL level can bring. And then I just wanted to feel more prepared to play college. So I just think that trip to Maryland United, getting on their ECNL team, was pretty much a no brainer when I got
Hmm.
kind of into it.
Right. And so you're in your senior year. So you're a 24. Um,
Yes, sir.
so that's, I mean, some people would say, "Oh, that's so late" or whatever, but there's opportunities out there.
Mhm.
One thing I remember from the first time we talked, it's like you're determined, man. Like you're gonna make it happen, and you're doing everything in your power to make it happen. And
Mhm.
that's, I mean, that's really admirable, man. Talk about like before you made the switch, what you were doing. Um, you know, what within the realm of getting recruited, like what actions were you taking to make that happen for yourself?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I was pretty much all over the place. I pretty much experimented with everything. Some
Yeah.
people say it's a waste of time. I don't know. Personally, I think it's all just one big learning experience.
Hmm.
But no, so I mean, I've been to the big camps. I've been to like the Future 500s, Exact IDs, kind of the big ones like that. And I've been to kind of smaller ones with a few colleges, and then I've been to school specific ID
Hmm.
camps. And then pretty much I started in ninth grade, kind of just the normal get on the college website or get on the tournament website, go to the college coaches, scroll.
Yeah.
You just, oh, I heard something good about them. And
Right.
you kind of shoot them an email, not really thinking much about it, to be
Hmm.
honest. But I mean, as of like last year, obviously a lot of things changed, and I was able to kind of, it's all part of that learning experience. So I was able to kind of know how to format an email, format kind of what coaches want to hear, because obviously, end of the day, they don't have, that much time. So
Right.
I email coaches prior to showcases. I give them an update after showcases. So I was pretty much just my goal was to keep like the main coaches that I was interested in and showed interest back. I was kind of trying to keep them in a loop every month and a half, 2 months, somewhere in there. Just email something, just anything, just to stay on their mind. and just stuff like that. So I've pretty much been through it all.
Right. So, like, when you talk about emailing, what did those emails look like? What was your intent with those? Yeah. So, I'm assuming that you made them personal on some level as well.
Yeah, yeah. So my kind of just philosophy at looking at it was, if I can just take, say I got a showcase next weekend, say take it on a Sunday or Monday, kind of that week before, and just go through the coaches that are on the list, go through coaches that I know are in the area. People always say, stop looking at maps. I spend too much time on maps, but no, so I would just go pretty much on maps, kind of just see what's around. And then last year specifically, because that's kind of when I grew the most with this emailing thing, I was kind of able to go to each school's website and kind of see if they have kind of the majors that I'm interested in,
Mhm.
and kind of just do some research. Personally, I'm in business, and I personally try to look to see there's a special accreditation that some business schools have, which are kind of, you know, not super special, but it's special enough to make a fact out of it. So I was kind
Mhm.
of, within each email, I was given a brief bio of who I am, where I come from, and kind of my play style.
Mhm.
And then I included some academic stats, some athletic stats, and kind of just gave them a link to highlight video and just sent them the
Right.
scheduling. Kind of,
Mhm.
I tried to keep it informational with like a bunch of facts, kind of just catch their eye, and then also kind of short and just straight
Right.
to the point.
Yeah. So you knew that you only had a certain amount of words to say before they kind of lost the tension or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
And did you say that you sent them video as well?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was working through NCSA, so I had part of like the package I had, I guess, was able to send games to them, and luckily
Mhm.
they were able to go through and kind of make a highlight video out of it, which was
Oh, cool.
super helpful, because I
Yeah.
tried one in 8th grade and it took me all summer to make, and it just wasn't good.
All right. So, I mean, you kind of took it on as an entrepreneur. I mean, you were running your own business, so to speak. I mean,
Yeah.
extremely admirable. Like, to have, I mean, the wherewithal and the maturity to, realize that, what you needed to do. I mean, how did you come up with the plan? And was there anyone advising you on how to handle all that?
Yeah. So I mean, most I don't know. Mostly it was kind of me with kind of my dad. My dad, like back in 8th, 9th grade, because I've always kind of had the aspirations to play in college. So he knew right when I kind of got into high school, he's like, it's time now. So
Mhm.
he's the big social butterfly. He's always about networking and everything. He's like network. Like,
Yeah.
the more people you know, the better. And
Hmm.
so he's like, it doesn't hurt to send emails to, like, even in 9th grade, obviously with COVID, like,
Right.
they're obviously not, like, unfortunately they're not looking at freshmen right there and then. So it's kind of just getting myself out there and just getting into the learning process, because the comparison between ninth ninth grade emails versus 11th grade emails is it's pretty huge. So I'd say
Yeah.
my dad advised me initially, and then he kind of just set it aside for me. He said, pretty much, if you want to do it, then it's you. Like, you spend the time and do it, because like, if you want it that bad, then do it. So then hours would be kind of taken out, and just a lot of little facts that I know about a lot of schools.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I think it's cool that you were evaluating like the academic part of it. And,
Mhm.
I think when you're writing a coach, they appreciate the fact that, you've done a little homework on the school and that that the school itself is potentially a fit for you, not just, I just want to play soccer. I don't care about everything else.
Yeah.
So it's super important that you did that. And then, so what's been the feedback over the years? Uh, let's not get into specific schools just yet.
Mhm.
Or probably not. Since you're by the time we release this, which will be within the next couple of days, like you won't
Mhm.
be committed anywhere. So let's not name any schools, okay?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so like, what's been the feedback, and how did you start to gauge what was going to be kind of the sweet spot on a level wise for you?
yeah. Okay, yeah. So I mean, first year was eighth going into ninth grade year, and I just decided let's go to Chicago. Let's go do a Future 500 camp, and
Uh-huh.
it was crazy. It was crazy. It was overwhelming,
Mhm.
humbling, but exciting all at the same time.
Right.
So I
You were
mean,
probably
like,
one of the youngest kids there, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was an experience. I had a couple buddies with me, so we kind of
Mhm.
went. We were like, we'll go see. There's going to be a bunch of colleges, obviously, and so immediately we jumped in and we were just like, dang, like this is it. So,
Yeah.
but now after, I mean, following kind of ninth grade year, there was kind of a main theme, and it was the competition level that I was playing.
Mhm.
And so our club team at the time was still in kind of a lower national league kind of division. So we weren't getting into a lot of the big tournaments. We were getting into a few like Jeff Cup, Disney, Bethesda, kind of big ones, but not huge.
Right.
And so we were getting into some of those.
And you're probably in
And
like the lower brackets as well, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
really well. We we were we were definitely in the lower kind of quarter, I'd say, for ninth and I'd say the first half of 10th grade year.
Hmm.
And so not many looks were really coming our way. And it was kind of the end of 10th grade year. It was kind of a few coaches showing up, and I happened to get a few looks kind of late 10th grade year, early 11th grade. And they
Hmm.
were they were just it was kind of that same thing about level of play, because the level of play surrounding me wasn't the best.
Right.
So they had a few things that I could work on. Kind of a lot of it was more kind of mental, because
Hmm.
playing because some coaches were saying like, hey, like, we recognize that you're one of the better kids on the team, and it's how can you stay locked in for all 90 minutes? How can
Yeah.
you keep the keep the level high when kind of the team you're on isn't keeping it high, or the team you're playing against isn't keeping it high.
Right.
It's similar to high school too, because it's kind of all out of the blue, but it was kind
Yeah.
of that problem was the level of play that we were playing at.
Hmm.
But at the end of pretty much last year, we were in a couple of big tournaments, and I was able to get a, a good amount of good looks, and I got pretty much good positive feedback.
Hmm.
But there was kind of a few areas that I recognized before pretty much in my play that I was still working on.
Hmm.
Like, some of the things were like just like team defending, not being on an island, not putting yourself in a 1v1 situation when it's
Yeah.
not necessary. Kind of stuff kind of in there, kind of more tactical,
Hmm.
because they would always kind of, in each kind of write up that I get back, it would be like good size, good speed, but few tactical things that they kind of go back to. So then
Right.
for me, it was kind of watching more soccer, watching more kind of not even just the Premier League on the weekends, like trying to just find like, I don't know. I still do this to this day, but like second league, random middle of the week kind of Spanish games. I
Yeah.
just turn
Yeah.
it on and I just kind of see their kind of formation and kind of the way their center backs and kind of outside backs can work together on those kind of
Mhm.
tactical kind of movements. So
Right. Are you watching college games too this fall?
yeah, I was just watching the Stevenson and Mary Washington game. So
Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Who's winning that?
Uh, it's 2-0 Mary Washington.
Okay.
Stevenson's kind of they were holding on at halftime, and Mary
Yeah.
Washington kind of came in second half,
Yeah.
just kind of
And Mary
busted it
Wash
open.
is Mary Wash is good this year. So
Yeah, really good.
um, yeah, so it's good. Like you recognize, or you're told that you had kind of an opportunity to improve tactically, like your understanding of the game, right? I mean,
Mhm.
you grew up in a place where that wasn't a priority, so you're figuring out how to address it. So then talk about the move to Maryland United, an ECNL team. You got guys there that are more of the same mindset that you are, um, and just talk about that experience, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah. So the whole thing kind of started end of last year. I decided just try out, just see what happens. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
I was able to luckily go to a practice before a tryout, which they said was probably their biggest tryout in years. So I was really thankful to have that practice before to kind of get my name in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so I did get at the tryout and they really kind of liked my play. So uh, I decided just go for it. Just
Mm-hmm.
it's time to switch. It was difficult leaving a bunch of friends and kind of all that stuff, but luckily it was kind of personal desires and it was just time. I felt like so. Then over summer we rested, didn't really do much, and then over the course of the high school season, starting back in August, I'd say we've been
Mm-hmm.
practicing every Sunday. So it's good. It was the first practice really kind of blew my mind of just like it was just so not I don't know, not nice, but kind of refreshing to just be with other kids that kind of had the same mindset, same skill level, same kind of they just kind of cared about the game just as much as I did.
Right.
So even when like because every Sunday we scrimmage the ECNL RO team also.
Mm-hmm.
So even just scrimmaging them, the level's much higher than I'd say it was before at
Yeah.
my club team for National League. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's just refreshing and kind of it's happy to meet some new guys, happy to kind
Right.
of hear just talk that normal stuff about high school and just talk about how everyone's gonna beat everyone. So it's fun.
Right. So you haven't played any real matches with Maryland yet, United.
No, so we'll start. We have a showcase middle of November, and then
Okay.
the ECNL showcase in December, and then we have our first league game at the beginning of December, also, I believe.
Okay. And so, talk about one thing we didn't get to was how you determined like what college level you kind of need to be looking in. Were you thinking you're going to be a D1 kid, and then you had some conversations and played with other people, and you realized where you needed to fall, or how did you determine where
Yeah,
you needed to be?
yeah. So I mean, it was kind of early high school kind of years. I was able to kind of get that gauge.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, middle school, everyone's like, I'm I'm gonna be an All American at
Right.
like UNC or UVA or
I'm gonna be a pro. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, kind of as high school kind of approached, it was kind of more realistic. I kind of took the
Mm-hmm.
realistic approach. It's kind
Mm-hmm.
of not the negative approach, but kind of what needed to happen.
Right.
So that first kind of Future 500 game, or yeah, those games at that camp, it was really because some kids were talking about offers they had previously, and so I was kind of gauging myself on where they were. And then as 10th grade, I'd say 10th grade was probably the main year that I went to a couple camps. I went to High Point camp
Mm-hmm.
in the summer going into 10th grade. And so it was really, uh, uh, Coach, Marcy, he kind of
Mm-hmm.
broke it down really nicely. It was like the odds of you getting recruited are like 1% or less. So from there, it was kind of where do I want to spend the most time kind of going for and
Mm-hmm.
going kind of with the chances where I know I can have a good percentage of where to play. And
Right.
so through those camps, engaging myself, I'd say like 10th grade year, I'd say wasn't I wouldn't say I was the best and I wouldn't say I was kind of the worst. It was kind of like that average high average kind of. Like I'd say I was pretty much up there, but I was still missing kind of few key factors. So I kind of settled on that kind of high D3, kind of low D1, what you guys call a tweener.
Yeah.
So I kind of settled on that, and then it was luckily that I kind of came to that conclusion quick because I
Hmm.
was able to not spend as much time reaching out to the big schools that I just unfortunately probably just wouldn't play for. And if I
Yeah.
was to go there, it would probably take a few years to play. And I'm a competitor. I don't. I want to play. So,
Yeah.
but no, it was kind of that easy way to kind of gauge where I was, so I could send those emails and spend more time focusing on those low D1 kind of conferences and then the high D3 conferences.
Right.
So it was kind of the early camps in 10th grade, I'd say, and kind of the realistic approach to it kind of settled me kind of in that gap.
Right. And so obviously, coaches can't write you back until a certain point, kind of timeline within your high school age.
Mhm.
So you started getting emails back from some, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then, so how did you react when you weren't getting emails back from certain places? Did you kind of say, okay, I'm going to give it one more shot writing them? Or, what was your kind of game plan there?
Yeah, originally ninth and 10th grade, or I'd say mainly ninth grade, maybe first half of 10th grade, I was like, man, like, this sucks. Like, I'm never going to get recruited to go there.
Right.
And then it was that same part that my dad kind of reminded me of. He's like, networking. Like, if you meet
Yeah.
someone somewhere one day, and okay, they may not remember you, but if you see them
Mhm.
again, it doesn't hurt to try again,
Right.
and they may
Right.
remember you. So
Yeah.
I kind of took that approach, and initially it was like, dang, like, or they send like a camp invite or something back, be like, dang,
Yeah.
like, I don't want to go to a camp. Like, I want to commit, like 10th
Right.
grade. Like, I want to commit immediately. So
Right.
it was kind of that. And,
Yeah.
but just as kind of time progressed and end of 10th grade, I'd say beginning of 11th grade, I was kind of getting those emails back, not from everyone, but from some of them. And so I was
Mhm.
kind of able to not completely cut the other ones off, but just get a main focus of the schools that I truly do have a desire to go to, or truly
Right.
can see myself playing there and going to class every day.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, our mutual friend, the guy who introduced us,
Mhm.
what was your relationship with him, and why? He obviously thought highly of you because he's like this kid would do great on your podcast. So, what was your approach with him? And it sounds like yeah. So what happened?
Yeah, so I mean, I was at the Virginia ID Sports USA camp
Hmm.
back at the end of July, I believe, yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe August, I don't know. One of those. So I just saw him there, and I've previously been listening. I know a couple coaches that came on
Uh-huh.
before, and I saw it on the Stetson University kind of their page. I saw him repost just one random day, and it was
Yeah.
like Coach Rakowski goes on podcast or something. I was
Right.
like, okay. So I was just driving in the car. I put it on. I was like, you know what? I enjoy this. I enjoy kind of hearing it and
Uh-huh.
the funny stories and everything. It really
Yeah.
kind of not made me happy about where I'm at, but
Mhm.
just, made me feel more comfortable and kind of,
Mhm.
I was happy to know that people, like, yes, I may not be able to take advantage of all the tips that you
Mhm.
guys were kind of sharing and the coaches were sharing, but I'm glad to know that, like, kids under me have that opportunity and they have somewhere to go and learn new things. But no, so we were at the camp and we were just kind of in between kind of drills. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, "Are you the coach from Match to Play podcast?" And he was
Yeah.
like, he was like, yeah. Why? I was like, you just sound familiar. You just look familiar.
Right.
And then he was like, what did he say? He was just like, what are you doing listening to that? And I was like, I just enjoy the funny things and just I love
Yeah.
hearing the stories you guys tell. And he
Uh-huh.
was like, he was like, you're from Maryland, like you don't even know us.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know. I just saw it some random place and just decided to start listening. I've loved it ever since. And
Cool.
kind of from there, he just emailed me right after the camp.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like he's gonna recruit me. But instead he
Yeah.
said, hey, you want to get on a podcast? And so
Uh,
I was like, I mean, sure, I'd love to.
right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's still kind of funny when I think about
Yeah.
it.
It is funny. I mean, obviously, your dad was in your ear.
Yeah,
You were hearing your dad's voice when you made that comment to him.
yeah.
So
The first thing I do when I tell him, I'm like, well, I may not be playing college soccer, but at least I could become a Hollywood star. And he's
that's
like,
right.
and the first thing he said was, well, any publicity is good publicity. So
That's right. That's right.
yeah, it's
That's so right. Um, so let's go back to where you are now.
Mhm.
Like, so when we tried this the first time, it's been what, 2 months ago, probably.
Yeah,
You hadn't like. It sounds like you've made some progress.
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess. So again, without talking about specifics, tell us where you are in the process and yeah, what's on the horizon.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, fall season. It's a great season, but
Mhm.
unfortunate for kind of some Maryland people,
Yeah.
especially if you're playing club, not MLS Next or Academy. So
Yeah.
you have high school season, which it's tough to get in front of other coaches. But so I have to wait till kind of middle November, December to kind of get back in that. But for now, I have a couple official visits kind of scheduled and kind of looking forward to learning about the schools that kind of are on my top list right now and kind of just going from there and kind of just seeing how I fit in. So
Right.
I'm excited.
Have you been on a visit yet?
I went on a couple unofficial visits just with the coach,
Unofficial.
kind of
Okay.
just showing
Yeah.
us around. So
Yeah. Did you meet any players while you're on the visits?
met one player at the end of last year, but it
Hmm.
was like one of those awkward, hey, I ran into you in the cafe kind of thing.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah.
no, it was still super cool.
Yeah. Cool. So you're excited. I mean, you've got some things cooking, and yeah. I mean, so I mean, the lesson is that persistence pays off, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you definitely put in the time and the work to get yourself out there. So, like I keep saying, that's super commendable.
Mhm.
So, are you like looking at a big geographic spread, or are
Um,
you trying to stay closer to home? Or
it's it's kind of I've narrowed it down to like a couple states,
Mhm.
but I that desire is kind of stay closer to home, kind of within kind of 5 hours, 6 hours,
Yeah,
maybe stretch into seven for a couple schools, but outside of that, because I mean, I think we're just so lucky, kind of here, especially in the DMV area,
yeah,
just a lot of great conferences, a lot of great schools, and kind of a lot of schools that can match my academic kind of you
hmm
know priorities and
hmm
obviously amazing athletic teams as we were talking about Mary Washington and
yeah.
nationally ranked and everything. So I think kind of the North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland is kind of where I'm mainly looking right now.
Okay, cool. And so when do you? I guess that's not really a question you could answer. I was going to ask you about timeline, but I mean that's not necessarily 100% up to you. So it's not
Yeah.
something that you could. Um, so yeah, I mean you're going to go to showcases in November and December, and you're probably going to things are going to turn the corner. I'm feeling fairly certain about that.
I hope so.
Yeah. So what else you got? You know, how's I guess like what have you been doing maybe on your own to get yourself ready
Mhm.
for these showcases, and then we've talked about it before on this podcast. Like now's the time to start getting ready to play college soccer too. So what kind of stuff have you been doing to get yourself ready other than watching other games?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we practice pretty much every day for high school,
Hmm.
and try to just get some extra work. Just
Hmm.
I try to do it at least 2 or 3 times a week. Just
Hmm.
even if it's just come in 20, 30 minutes before and just getting a few touches
Hmm.
or running some hills, just anything that kind of get that kind of mindset of I'm unfortunately I'm gonna be a little fish in a big pond instead of a big fish in
Yeah.
a little pond. So it's a lot of the mentality thing for me is
Hmm.
just I'm trying to because everything I've heard, I know a bunch of people that are pretty much playing college soccer right now, and it's like
Hmm.
it's super humbling. And when you get
Yeah.
in, it's like you gotta go to have any chance of playing.
Right.
So I've kind of just been working on just kind of that grind and just kind of bettering my mentality, getting ready
Hmm.
kind of for
Yep.
the situations. And then I haven't been able to do it as recent just because high school season been so chaotic, but
Hmm.
trying to get in the gym 2 or 3 times a week and just maintaining that physical strength. Because,
Hmm.
I mean, when you get to college, say you're playing freshman year, you could be playing against 22, 23-year olds. So it's kind of, I want to get in the best possible shape physically, mentally, healthily, kind of just all over the place to just give myself the best advantage to get on the field early in my collegiate career.
Yep. I mean, Greg, you got the right mentality. What are you gonna do if like it doesn't work out?
I mean, I think the opportunity I've kind of not been looking into it, but it's kind of
Mhm.
that daunting, back of the mind thought is
Right.
I'd honestly probably take a gap year, try to
Mhm.
play on a USL 2 or USL kind of, somewhere like that.
Mhm.
Just just try to grind, try to I'd probably go to CSM, the nearby community college, and
Mhm.
probably play there for uh, a year or something and just kind of play semi-pro and just try to stay into it.
Cool.
And because I mean, I just enjoy being competitive and just enjoy the game. I love being around it. So
Yeah. Cool. Um, that's awesome. So, I mean, I'm sure your goals are gonna be met, man. But what else you got? Anything else?
uh, no, I'm just super excited,
Yeah.
stressed but excited. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is a stressful time. I mean, uh, my son went through it just exactly like you are. So,
Mhm.
it's definitely stressful. I don't know if you listen to podcasts with him and his old teammate, but
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
hopefully that helped you out a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah, um, nothing else.
I think that's good. Thank you.
Okay, hold on one sec.